Hey, welcome everybody. It is a pleasure to be here with you today as we continue another session of Real Israelis, Real Lives. And I am joined here today with Senya Lauderdale. Senya is a proud mother of four incredible children, ranging from ages 24 to 16. Senya originally made Aliyah from Teaneck, New Jersey, and has been living in Efrat since 2006. Senya, welcome. It's a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Senya, in addition to the short intro, tell us a little bit about yourself, and specifically as a mother of a current soldier who is fighting in Gaza.
Okay. First of all, it's an incredible amount that we as parents and myself as a mother, we have tremendous pride for all of our chayalim, but especially when you have a child who is doing his service in the army. It's absolutely an incredible amount of pride, an incredible amount of fear, an incredible amount of bravery. But we wrap that all together, and then we send our sons and daughters off to protect our land, to protect our people. And it has definitely been, from the moment he began his service.
Who are you referring to?
I'm sorry, my son Zachary.
Okay, how old is Zach?
Zach is almost 21. Please,
okay,
God, we'll be able to celebrate with him. He is in the combat unit called Handasa Kravi, where he is involved in explosive devices, and he's currently right now in Gaza with his unit and with many other units. And they are working tirelessly to defeat Hamas and remove as many weapons of mass destruction from the area.
Handasa Kravi, literally translated as combat engineering. So that means that your son would have a specialization in explosives and specifically in exploding buildings.
Correct. That is correct.
Okay. I'm sure there is a more official way of saying it, but so he has
tried many times
to explode buildings.
Right. He makes things blow up, which is a good thing. But of course, he's trained extremely well in order to do this. And his whole unit knows what they're, of course, they all know what they're doing. And there's different, I don't know all the details, and it's better that way, but there are different, between buildings and explosives. I watched a video where they blew up actual missiles. They found like 20 missiles hidden in a kindergarten, and they just blew them all up. And people said, "Oh, why don't you keep them?" I said, "No, we want to destroy them. We don't want any weaponry around. We want to destroy anything affiliated with Hamas, anything affiliated with the evilness."
Could you take me back to the beginning? And what I mean by beginning is when your son Zach receives his call that he is to go down to Gaza. Start the story, please, from there.
When you went down to Gaza, or when from October 7th, because that's when everything happened. But okay.
The beginning.
Of the beginning. Okay. So Simchat Torah, we're sitting in Efrat, where it's early in the morning. Everyone's getting ready to go to shul for Simchat Torah, and sirens start going off. We hear a boom, and then a siren goes off, to be exact, to be more precise. And everyone runs to the safe room, to the mamad. We run for cover. Nobody knows what's going on. Obviously, it's Shabbat, it's Chag. We don't have our phones. We don't know anything. And then they keep coming, and we keep running and going in. He gets a call on his phone. He picks his phone up, and he says, "It's very serious what's going on," but he doesn't have all the details yet. Like nobody knew exactly what was going on unless you were down south. You had no idea the travesty and the intensity of what was happening there, and there was no way to know at that moment. And he said, something's happening. I have to get ready. He was told, pack enough clothing, enough materials, whatever you need for a month's worth of belongings that you would take with you. And again, now we're probably around 11, 12 o'clock in the day. More information is being given. People who were already in shul got information from other chayalim and things like that who were around. And we're all terrified again, but nobody still knows exactly what's going on. For some reason, we didn't, I don't know why exactly, as I think about it, why we didn't just turn on the TV, but we usually get our news in a different capacity. So we didn't right away go turn on the television, even though it was Shabbat and Chag. And now, as the day progresses, we hear more and more of our neighbors, husbands, sons are all being called, and they're all running. And then we hear Bibi has officially declared war on Hamas. And now we know a bigger story, but again, not all of the pieces to the puzzle have come together, and we're all frantic. For us, the day progressed in a very odd, strange way, as many, many, many families, not knowing, filled with fear, filled with anxiety, and just complete and utter shock, because you just don't even know. And as much as you can prepare, we weren't prepared at all. We were caught completely off guard. So now he's waiting all day to leave, and we don't get anything. And then eventually we don't get any message, but I see many, many people leaving from our block. And at that point, now we already had made Havdalah, and he says, I have to go right now. So I drive him to Yerushalayim, which, in addition, driving to Yerushalayim when we were all under attack was very frightening to drive. And he said, Mom, don't worry, I have the gun with me. I have my gun, I'll protect you. But that's great. I said, I have to drive back without you with the gun. So we, thank God I made it back okay, and everything was all right. And he went off. And luckily, he was on base for, his base is down south. The main Handasa, combat engineering, Handasa Kravi base is located down south near Eilat, and they have tons of areas to practice explosives and things like that. So that's why they're all the way down south. And, the war is now breaking out. We're seeing, of course, after Shabbat, what actually went down. We didn't even again, still in shock, it was inconceivable as to what took place, the massacre, the brutality, the children, the raping, the elderly, just such evilness, just beyond. It's inhumane what they did. And our minds can't even process it, I believe, because we are not animals and we are not violent people like that. We as Jewish people are not raised like that. We as human beings aren't raised like that. So moving forward to his whole situation, we then, excuse me, sorry, bad call. We then continued waiting to hear from him, and he was still able to talk to us, send us messages here and there. I'm doing okay, I'm all right. Then we get a call that he's moving down south. Where exactly, we don't know. And we just, whenever he could call us, he would call us or send us a message. Eventually, about 2 weeks after he had first left, he calls us after Shabbat and says, come down, it's visiting night. Now, as a mother, and as a mother of a chayal, of a soldier, that might be very nice. Oh, let's go visit our son and let's go have some good quality time with him. But the reality is if you read between the lines, that means they're going in. And if they're going to go anywhere, they were going to Gaza. So as happy and as wonderful it was to spend a few hours with him, and we brought, the entire kitchen with us to feed him and feed everybody else. as much as we could. We ran there and we went to see him. But I knew in the next few days he would probably be heading south. And because of his particular unit, that unit goes in, they go in after the infantry goes in, the tanks and Givati, Golani, they all go in first. They do more of the heavy fighting. And then the combat units go right behind them or right after them as they prepare the way. But again, you could get shot in any direction at any day. It's a war and it's a battle. So moving again forward, at this point, he's still on the base, on the yishuv that they sent them down south. And at this point, he is waiting to hear when he would go. Now, then we get a message, oh, it would be so nice if we could bring all of the chayalim, they need more food, which again, I understood as code, let's give them home cooked food before they're really sending them down. And literally that is exactly what happened. Approximately 3 weeks from that first night, we came down and we all prepared food. We had to bring it to a central location. I did not get to see him. Only one mother was able to get to the base to drop off the food with a point person. And he was able to call us at that point. And he said, I don't even know, everything you send, I don't even know if I'm going to get to it, because I don't even know if I'll get to eat the food or anything like that, because I am actually probably leaving even in a couple of hours. Okay, so at that point, he calls again and he says to us, I want to just let you know, I love you. And I kept saying to him, I need a sign. I need something. Tell me what's going on here. And he said, Mom, this is the call. This is the call. This is the call. And at that moment, I froze, because I had all these things prepared in my mind of what I would say to my son, who's now going off to war. And instead, I'm frozen. But Baruch Hashem, I had enough strength within me. And I said to him, and my husband's on the other line of the phone, and my kids are all around us. And I said, just be brave, be strong, and be smart. And I said to him, and I always said this to him, please, 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 you're our hero. You don't have to be the hero, because our son, Zach, is the type of person who he always goes above and beyond, a heart of gold. And he will always making sure his guys are okay and watching their backs and protecting them. And he sometimes forgets himself. So he said to him, you can be a hero, but within reason. And so thinking that was the last time we would be speaking with him for some time. And after that, we said our goodbyes, not knowing when we would speak again. And then at that moment, we hung up the phone, and I was paralyzed, completely paralyzed with fear, complete fear, because as a parent, and I've read plenty of parenting books, I've never in my entire life read anything of how to prepare to send your son off to a war. It doesn't exist anywhere. No parent should ever have to know such a thing. And finally, I said, I have to have strength. I have other children. I have a husband. I have other things. And of all people, our Zach would say to us, you can't do this. You need to move. You need to go forward. You need to find the light. You need to go ahead. And so I literally picked myself up after a few minutes, or it seemed like, I don't know, a while. And I said, okay. And then I continued getting food ready, thinking I might see him, or at least let me get the food to this base, because perhaps he might actually get the food. And if not, I always say, if I can't feed my own son, at least let me feed other chayalim, other soldiers, because they're all our sons, ultimately.
How long ago was that phone call when he said that he was going in?
That was 18 days ago. 18 days.
Have you heard from him since?
So we spoke to him on that same day. He called one more time. And he said to us, and we were shocked. It was already like in the 18 minutes, and he called and he said, I'm still here. And I got the food and I got all the packages you sent. And he was very quick. It was like a 2-second conversation. I love you. We wished him again well. And that was it. And that has been the last time we spoke to him voice to voice. Now, my son is also very creative. And so he has managed in his own creative way to get messages to us. Not all the Chayalim have been doing this in his unit. And I know because I see, and I don't want to brag, obviously, on our groups. Every unit makes a parent group together to keep us all informed on what's going on. So I won't tell them that, oh yeah, he sent me a letter because just this morning, I got a letter via another soldier who had access to a phone. He wrote a little note to us and said, I just want you to know, I love you all. I'm doing well. I'm enjoying blowing up buildings and I'm okay. And then he apologized that he wrote it in Hebrew. Wow. So that was our chizuk, that was our strength for the day. And that was very, very powerful and very meaningful. And I have little ways of checking in on him, not the normal way, but a neighbor of ours is an intelligence. It just so happens that he is watching our son's unit. So he always has his eyes on our son, and he can't tell you anything really, but he'll just say he's okay. Or I saw him, he's smiling, or he's like little words, little pieces of hope, of strength to keep us going, because it's so painful. And yet at the same time, I'm so proud of him. It's like a juxtaposition of emotions, because you're up and down all the time, and this is how we live here. And I also get tremendous chizuk from all the chayalim that I've watched, all these videos that I see, people getting married, people, the one guy, I just saw a video, this man was like, yeah, we needed more tzitzit and sidurim and tehillim. And I made one phone call, and in 10 minutes, someone drove from all the way south. They drove all the way up north, and they brought us like boxes and boxes of tzitzit and tehillim. And he's like, who does this? Like, only Am Yisrael could do such a thing like this in minutes. He said, I just hung up the phone. How are you here? I don't understand. So this is what we're dealing with.
You're saying, I know that you can share so much more.
Oh yes, I know.
I think that for all of the people watching this and listening back in Montreal, or whether they are wherever they might be,
right,
I think your voice has been a unique one, that you've added a perspective that we haven't heard yet, which is the perspective of a mother who is longing to get a call or a text or just a glimpse of her son who is currently fighting. And we can hear the anguish, we can hear the hope, we can hear the pride. It all shines through very powerfully. And I think for everybody that is listening, it is something which is shared. And I don't know if you're expecting me to use that word, but please know that Jews around the world share, not to the degree of a mother, that can never be comparable, but they share to a lesser degree the fear, the anguish, the concern, the worry, the pride, and ultimately the hope that people like Zach and all of our chayalim, all of our soldiers give us. Senya, I really thank you for coming on and speaking with our audience today, speaking with me today. It's not easy, and you know that this is not a simple thing, but your strength and being able to share a little bit of Zach's story is incredible. Our blessing to him and to all of our chayalim is the same as it has been since the beginning. May God watch over them in peace, and may they all come back in peace.
Amen. 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 Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Senya Lauderdale, mother of Zach Lauderdale, IDF soldier in Handasa Kravi in combat engineering. May they all be safe, and may they all come back safely. Thank you so much, Senya.
Thank you. Be well.